Hey, what's up, guys? It is Chili from O-Town. So, what I was going to do today is get ready to do a little bit of practice session. Sorry about that. What I was going to do today is do a little bit of practice session. I want to make sure that I've got my chat coming in correctly. I hope my stream will hold steady, and I'm going to take and do a test. I'm going to do a in just a second. Let me do a testing 4, 5, 6. See if that reads in. If it reads in, we're good to go. Okay, it did. It read in. Okay, so we'll leave that purple, even though I'm not crazy about that purple color. It can be red. Past 2 days, I have experimented with a little bit of laying bets instead of just straight out place bets. So 2 days ago, after like 40 some odd rows, maybe 50, I was actually in a profit due to the laying bet. Yesterday, after somewhat of 60, 65 rows, I was in a negative from doing the lays because I was laying the 10, and I hit several 10s yesterday. So going back to old school, I'm going to just play straight today, place bets. I'm going to do a $25 ATS right there. And I'm going to do, which that's broke up into 10, 5, 10. 10 for the small, 5 for the all, 10 for the tall. $10 pass line, that's all I'm going to work for the come out. I'm not working no come out roll. I'm going to go with the 3, 2, 3, 6. I'm going to start out with 3, 2, 3, 6. Yesterday I had moved over to a 3, 6, 3, 2 set when the 3, 2, 3, 6 was not behaving. Today I'm just going to go back to my 3, 2, 3, 6 and go from there. Alright, hard way 8, primary hit. Come out. Hard 8, that's a primary hit. Hang on, guys. I might have to take a phone call. But let me mark that 8. I'm going to mark that 8. I might end up having to take a phone call. My oldest daughter just called me, but I asked her in text messages what's up, so maybe she can just ask me what she wanted to ask me. But if it's something else, she might have to call me. So, okay, so we got to get some bets out there. So we got, let's do the 220. Now we explore several different betting options. The 220, as I pointed out on several of my videos, only if you can come out excuse me just a minute. Okay. Okay, so in several of my videos I have shown to where if you start out low, like 64 across, it takes a lot of hits to make money. But if you start out high and do, a little bit more risk with only like a single hit and regress, then you can have a profit. It's just easier when you're a little bit more risk when you go with 220 than you are with say 44 across or 64 across. But 64 across, you're aiming to lose money because you're playing. When you play in that type of method, you're playing in a long-term type scenario where you have to have lots of hits, and that generally equates to lots of 7s. So you're generally knocking your place bets off before you can ever recoup. Sorry about that. I'm just communicating with my daughter. I thought maybe something was wrong, maybe because she was trying to call me. But okay, so here's what I'm saying. It's just easier. I think it's easier to have a hit and then regress than it is to try to build place bets up. So, with that being said, I'm going with the 220, but I'm just using this 60 instead of being on the 8, and I'm putting it on the odds instead of on the place bet. All right, dice are out. All right, 268. This is an on-axis primary hit again. So we hit our point. I'm hoping my connection is going to stick with us. Maybe it will, but it's like dropping a lot of frames. So hopefully I don't lose the connection. All right, sorry about that. I've been communicating with my daughter. I'll say that again. So this right here, we get paid 10 on the front line. We get paid 72 on the back. For 60 bet, it gets paid 72. All right, so we made our point. We are now at this point of the time. Let's look at what we got. There's our 220. Here's our profits. 72 plus a front line winner, so we're at 82. So what we can do, we can get our 220 back home. We're going to home up our 220. That way, from whatever goes on from this point forward, we're trying to use house money to make house money. So what we'll do, we will spread house money across now. We need to get some change for those 50s. We might not even need all that change. We'll get $125 worth of change with 4 reds and 5 whites. And we got this other quarter. That might leave us all we need to do. Yeah. So we still get to put, all right, so we need that 10 covered. We'll go ahead. We're not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and get change for that green. Just so we can see what's happening right here. All right, so we've got our 64 all the way across now, and we are racking $18 off of. If we wouldn't have had a front line winner, if it had just been any other inside hit, we still would have collected $8. But since it was a front line winner, we're actually racking 18. Now this is going to help. 18 of this covers our front line investment, and this 8 covers our part of our $25 ATS. So we're almost all the way back to even from the very start. You know, if we could get 17 more dollars, we would have our original starting bankroll. So that's all I'm trying to do is get my original starting, is trying to stay each shooter, trying to stay ahead on each shooter. I'm not trying to get behind on a shooting standpoint in an overall betting method. So I understand that you don't have to include pass lines and ATSs in this right here, but that's kind of my goal. I just kind of like to stay even or a little ahead on bankroll. That way, when the 7 comes, the next shooter is not already in a hole. All right, here we go. Nice route. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. Alright guys, so I got this little jacket on and it's causing me a major issue. Let me see if I can, I want it on because it's a little cool. But when I lean up against the back rail, it's not allowing my arm the mobility to be able to finish the throw out correctly. But it's a little cool in there, so I'm going that right there would probably do it now. Alright, so 1, 2, 3. So that's the front line loser. We'll go ahead and mark that in our small. Alright, we'll mark that in our small. And here's a front line loser. So we have to re-up $10 more. Alright, so our front line's back up. No worries. Here we go. 3, 2, 3, 6 on our C. Alright, well this time we got some of the similar results, 6, 6. So we got something going on with our throw. Adjustment we need to make. We have to re-up another front line. No worries. We still have the dice. We're not working to come out. And this time we got aces. So we are really having something going on weird with them. It could be this restriction I put on myself with this jacket. But that's 3 front lines in a row that we've lost on crouch numbers. We're going to re-up again. I don't know that it's 100% for sure that it's this jacket. It could be restricting me. But I'm just going to take it off. It's just a little chilly where I'm at. I don't have a heater hooked up right now. So I wanted to keep that jacket on. I don't know if this was affecting my throw or not, but I'm just going to go ahead and get it out of my way. It was restricting my arm to a degree. AC doozy, so maybe it wasn't the problem with the jacket. We have a drift right there. 4 horn numbers in a row. Alright, here we go. Alright. 3, 2, 3, 6. It's a little too late now to see a horn bet a horn, but I should have did that from the start. Three, 1, 4. All right, so we finally got off of a horn number. 3, 1, 4. That would be an on-axis single pitch. We was not working. We're just going to put the odds right there. We're just going to put what was in the place of it. We're going to put it on odds. So now, with 4 horn numbers in a row, that kind of hurt our bankroll. Knocked us down where we need to be, but it helped our ATS a great deal on our low side. So maybe we can capitalize off of that. Nope. All them horn numbers and then a 0.7 out. So we definitely have something going on with our throw. This left dice is getting a lot of 6s and a lot of aces off of that last 5-row sequence. So the good thing was the 64 that we just lost basically was not out of our bankroll, but the 4 horn numbers that we hit on the come outs cost us dearly on our bankroll. I mean, that was 40 extra bucks. And on top of that, it run our SOR down. So now that we're in the hole, we're in the behind, we're in a hole. You know, we got to put our ATS back up, and we got to do a front line again. We don't want to work to come out. We don't have enough. We don't have enough consistency on any positive rows yet to start working to come out. So I'll just stay with this same method for a moment. .369. This is an on-axis single pitch, 369. So we marked the 9. So we hit all them horn numbers. We had our extremes looking real good for our ATS, and then we hit the 7. So let's do the 220 again. And try to take the one hit and go to 64 inside. We're going to put that in the odd. We're going to put that on odd instead of on the place bet. Just pays better. .314. We have nothing on the outside. 314. We usually take one hit before we get to the outside. .426. Right dice exploded. All right, there's our $70 hit. So 60 pays 70. So now that since we've lost, I mean, we can take, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and get the outside for quarters each and shoot for another roll. We might as well just go ahead and take the outside for 35 each. Go for one more roll. So we're putting our 220 at risk for another roll. .33 hardway 6 primary roll. We hit a 6, so now there's our 70 again. So I went ahead and put my risk. I went ahead on my risk for one more roll for the simple fact that I had so many of them come outs that knocked my bankroll down. It didn't really hurt me that I 7'd out on that first roller because I had made up that money. That money was already secured. Here should be my 220. Actually, this is going to be more than 220 because 50 of it was off. Actually, that's going to be the 70 plus 220. So see, there's the initial 220. So we just now got 70 and another 70. So that's $270. So we get to put our 220 back in. But since I left my bankroll, since I left it up for a second roll, I was able to bring my bankroll back closer to where it needs to be. But you know, because all them come out 7s a while ago. So I'm not quite there. I would be if I didn't want to use this 64 across. I'm going to use this 60, this 70 to do 64 across. I use this 60 to do what? I'm going to use that 70 to do 64 across, so it's going to leave me a profit. It's going to leave me a return of $6, and it's putting my 64 across. In that manner there. Now, my point is a 9, so I'm going to put that in odds. I still racked $6 more. So that's what I'm doing there. So I didn't mark the hard 6. So did I hit? Oh yeah, I didn't mark the hard 6. So now I've marked the hard 6. Okay. So we're just going to keep going. Now that we've got back almost to the beginning, we're just trying to press. We're going to do press and collect. Press and collect. Just hope, you know, we can keep this going for a little bit. $134. Left dice imploded. 134. We got $10 on it. It pays us 14. No, 10 pays us 18. Excuse me. This is a press and collect. We collect the first hit. Collect the first hit. Mark the 4 on the tracker. And continue to move. 3-2, 3-6. Nice round. 2, 3, 5. The dice went in there like a speeding bullet, but we ended up with not 2. They bounced off the back wall a little bit more than they should have, but we stayed on axes. We got a single pitch. So this time, 15 gets paid 14, so we're going to drop the dealer a dollar and tell him to take us all the way up. So he would take our 5 from 10 all the way up to a quarter by us dropping the dollar. Mark the 5. All right, so we've hit a couple of inside hits on the small. We've hit the 5 and the 6, and we've hit the 9. So we need a couple of more inside hits on the. We need a couple more box hits on the tall side before we swap dice sets and try to shoot for extremes. Or we can just play this dice set out, and somewhere down the road, you know, if we get off axes and happen to get 11 or 12, it could help us somewhere down the road. 415 on axis, single pitch. And this time the 5 has got 25 on it, so it pays 35. So this is a collect roll. Collect that time. So we're collecting this roll. It's a collection roll. We get the 5. So again, you know, we're just shooting for inside, you know, and try to capture some more of those box numbers. Hopefully along the way, you know, we might get off axes. Not hopefully that we get off axes, but if we can capture some more box numbers, we might change sets. Four, 6, 10. This is an on axis. Single pitch, 4, 6, 10. We got 10 on it. Pays us 18. So we drop the dealer $2. 2 for 20. We tell them to press it all the way up. So the $20 is going to turn this bet into a $30 bet. Because $2 adds to 18 to make 20, and we had 10 on it, so now it's a $30 bet. So it's a buy bet now. Mark the 10. We want to continue on. If you look at the board now, we need mostly extremes. That was a collect. I mean, that was a press. So we want to collect before we were ever even considered changing sets. We want to collect. Five, 4, 9. So we hit our point. This is an on axis single pitch. 5, 4, 9. And this will be a collect roll. So we collect 10 on the front, 15 on the back. So there's 25, 25 that we just collected. 10 on the front, 15 on the back, but we had $10 on our odds, so that's a $35. This will be a collect. But now that we look at our board, we see that we need to make an adjustment. We need to go, let's get a quarter for that. We need to change dice sets. We need to shoot. Now, if you look at all this money that I'm pulling off the board, it all comes from, there's $20 I'm going for the horn, $20 horn bet. I got an iron cross and I'm working everything, and I still managed to rack $4 in my bet. So, we just made our point by hitting a 9. We want to work everything because we're going to change dice sets. We're going to the 6, 4, 6, 5, and we're going to shoot for those extremes. One, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5. So we hit a 5. So our new point's a 5. What we can do, we lose here and we lose here. But this 25 is going to win 35, so the 35 is going to replace the field and it's going to replace the home. What we can do, we can drop that quarter down to 20, like that, and we can put that in odds. So we just actually just racking $5 more. That's all that was about. So 3, 2, No. 6, 4, 6, 5. We're still shooting the cross sixes now because we're looking to hit some extremes. That 415 that we just hit was a on axis single pitch. 415. So we're on axis. That's the concern that we want to do. That's not really the concern. We want to stay on axis, but we don't really want to see a double pitch. So if we can stay with single pitches or primary hits, we're good with this dice set. We got a 2-4-6. 2-4-6, so we hit a 6. So this is the same type scenario. It's 30 on it. It's going to pay 35. The 35's got to replace the field and the home run. And we're staying with the same dice set. 6, 4, 6, 5. Six, 5, yo. This is an on-axis single pitch. 6-5 yo. So that worked out good. It pays 15 in the field. It pays 70. This $5 yo. This paid $75. We re-up all our horn, our $20 horn, and we get to rack $75. Now I'm gonna take that 75. We'll go ahead and take these two 100s. I'm going to take these 8 greens and go ahead and replace them for 2 black. Casino does not want to color you up in the middle of the game. They're going to want you to sit there and spend that money back. So I marked the yo. Alright, now I'm down to needing 2 numbers on the tall, 2 numbers on the small. But I'm staying with the 6, 4, 6, 5 just for the simple fact I still need both of the low end numbers. Somewhere down the road, I think something has happened with the tracker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Why is my... Okay, no it hasn't. So the only 7 I've had so far. No, something has happened with the tracker. Because it's not reading right. This SOR shouldn't be 20. Well, yeah, maybe it's right. Sorry. It's right. I'm sorry, guys. SOR right now is good because I've only hit one SOR, one out. Alright, here we go. Dice are out. 6, 4, 6, 5. Looking for the extremes. 2-2 hard way 4. Left dice actually imploded. We hit a 4. So it pays us 15 in the field. We give the dealer a nickel to go with that 15 and he re-ups our horn. Mark the 2-2 hard 4 in the tracker. Moving on. 3-2, 3-6. Well, aces, primary hit. This is exactly what we want this dice set to do. Aces, primary. Aces. So this is a great case scenario. That's exactly what we're shooting for. Is primary hits off this dice set. It pays double the bubble in the field. Sometimes that aces even pays triple. All right, and then it pays for the nickel that's up on the horn on the aces. It pays 30 to 1. I got a nickel up. It pays 150. So it pays 150, and that 15 for the field. But I got to re-up on my horn bet. So there we go. Horn bet's back up, but see, I did that wrong. All right, so it pays 150 and it pays 15. Yeah, that was right. It pays 15 in the field on each one. And this nickel is still left in the horn for the aces. So I take, and I re-up all my horn bets. So I rack that, I rack that, and I rack that. I mark the aces. And I'm shooting the same dice set because I want to be able to, you know, now I'm only needing a 3. So, you know, I'm shooting the same dice set because 6, 4, 6, 5 dice set can come right there on a single pitch. 6, 4, 6, 5. If both dice stay on axis, one rotation further, you get ace, deuce, 3. But at the same time, I still need the 12. So this dice set on primary could yield the 12. So that's what I'm trying to do. Stand with this dice set to hopefully I can get the 3, the 12. Four, 2, 6. I thought that was my point. 4, 2, 6. The right dice actually looks like it might have exploded. 6, 4, 6, 5. Actually, no. Actually, I'm wrong. 6, 4, 6, 5. And it turned to a 4, 2, 6, which is a double pitch. So I'm sorry about that. 6, 4, 6, 5. We end with a 4, 2, 6. Mark the 6. The 6 gets paid 35. It re-ups the field and re-ups the home run. So we don't have to make no payment there. We don't have to make no difference in betting there. Hey, what's going on, East Coast? You all right, my friend? Dice are out. We're using the 6, 4, 6, 5, looking for a 3 and a midnight. And there's a 2, 6, 8. Left dice actually imploded to land on a 2. But we hit an 8, so it's going to be the same case scenario. Now, we needed that 8. We did need an 8. That was like, we needed that 8 to hit part of our tall. But the left dice imploded. The right dice stayed on axis. So we got an 8. So now we are down to needing only the midnight or only the 3. So we're down to needing just one number for the small, one for the tall. So we hit the 8. We got $30 on it. It's going to pay 35. We're going to use the 35 to resupply the field and the horn. Doing okay? Sounds good, my friend. Six, 3, 9. The right dice this time is going to be an implosion. So it will be an implosion this time. 6, 4 stayed on axis. 6, 5 imploded. 6, 3, 9. So we hit a 9. Alright, so our field gets paid 15. We have to drop the dealer another nickel to go with that 15 to re-up our homer. Alright, so here we go. We're still shooting for this tall and small. We're one number off each end from being what we want to be on this actual throw. On this actual shooter. And there we go. 3, 4, 7. So our right dice actually exploded that time. Our left dice stayed on axis. Right dice exploded. The last time, if you remember, the right dice imploded. But this time, wait a minute. 6, 4, 6, 5. So no, it was not an explosion. I'm sorry. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. The 6, 5 exploded, created the 4, so it was a 3, 4, 7. Left dice stayed on axis. Right dice exploded. 3, 4, 7 out. So we got that close. We got that close to hitting the small or the tall, and it just didn't come through for us. We needed one number off of each end. That shooter shot for quite a long roll. The money that's on the board, it is a loss, but it's not a loss out of our pocket, because on the start from this shooter, He had 220 up, and we got that 220 back in the bank, get back in our rack actually really very soon. So overall, we're still to a positive because we only started with 1,000, and here's 600 in black already, and there's 100 in red, so that's 700. I think we're missing one chip right there. There's one chip on green from being another 500, so I know we're in the positive. No doubt about that. So what we want to do, we want to stay with this same type roll. We'll do another ATS for a quarter again. We're starting out with a $10 pass line. We don't have any bets on, so we're not having anything working. And here we go. We're going to do the 3-2-3-6. We'll see if we can get another good roll in. That was a pretty decent roller. Just the right dice exploded. So we have to make, hopefully we can make an adjustment to keep those dice on axis. Six two eight. So our new point's going to be an 8. So this is something I didn't mention. Usually right after, I'm only needing a number like the 3 and the 12 to complete the tall or the small. I usually hit them real soon on my next roll. Now I'm not going to bet that, but I just want you to just keep that in mind. It might be something worth throwing up, say I needed a 12 and a 3. It might be worth throwing up a $25 horn and saying, you know, or at least a $5 horn and saying horn high yo or something, horn high 12 or something. $5, you know, I might do that. I'll do that. Horn high 12. I'll do a horn high 12. Horn high 12 for $5. Because I see that happen often. And this time it didn't. We hit a 3-1-4. This is an on-axis single pitch. Oh, I didn't even have any bets out there. That's my bad. I had a point established and I didn't ever put my bets out there. I got talking about the horn high stuff. It wouldn't have affected anything anyway because I hit a 4. But I'm going to put the 60 in the odds. I'm doing the 220. I'm looking for a hit. Regress down to 64 across. 3-2-3-6 on the set. Two, 4, 6. This is an on axis. Single pitch. It pays us 70. The 6 gets paid, the 60 gets paid 70. I marked the 6 on the tracker. Let me do something with this camera. It just doesn't look. Maybe it's clear as it's going to get. Okay, so here's what I do. That $70 winner, that allows me to take my 220, which is right here, and bank that back, or rack that back up. That way I'm not out the shooter. I take the $70 profit that I've got off the one hit. I'm going to do it this way, just so you can kind of see it more. There's the 50 for these 2 greens. And I spread them across where 64 across. This one has to have a change. That would be my $70. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Alright, there's 74 across, but I don't really even need that too because I'm going to put this in the odds, so that puts $8 in my rack off of that one hit. Now I'm at the leisure of being able just to press and collect because the money that's on the board now, we're taking house money to win house money. So that's the way I like to do it. I don't like pressing from my side and pressing from my side and pressing from my side. I want the house money to win house money. 4-4, hard weight 8. That's a primary dice hit. 4-4, hard 8. So that made our point. We get 10 there, and we get 12 on the back for the odds. So boom. So this would have been a press and collect. So we would just only be doing a collect on the first roll. So we're going to collect this money. So we made our point by way of hard 8, which is our point made. Alright. We're not going to work to come out. We're just going to take it easy. Take our time on shooting. Not work to come out. That's right. Aces. There's some aces that I needed. No, I didn't need aces. That's off axis. So it costs us $10 front line. Left dice imploded. Three, two, 3, 6. That's right. Double pitch, 4-3-7. It was not working to come out. This was a come out, 4-3-7, so that's a front line winner. Doesn't really affect much, except it does knock our ATS off. That was our come out 7, knocked our ATS off. So we have to re-up our ATS. That's back up. That's unfortunate. We had a couple of numbers marked already. That's the way it works. Double pitch. That was a double pitch. So we was on axis. Just double pitched it. That's right. 5-6 yoke. That's a 5-6 yoke. It's not a 1-6. It was a 5-6. My stick hit it and turned it to 5-6 yoke. That's a front line winner. That's an on axis. Double pitch again. It's just nothing ugly. Still on axis double pitch, so it could just as well have been the 7 as it was the 3-4-7 or the 4-3-7 as it was the 5-6 yoke. That's right. 3-2-5. Right dice exploded. 3-2-5. So that's our new point, is a 5. All right. So the last roll before the come out 7, we rolled a 9, and then we had collected when we hit our 9. So the next roll that if we make another hit, it's a press roll. We would press it. We're doing a press collect type betting system here, and when we press it all the way up. We do full press basically. That's right. 6-2-8. This is a drift. Actually, that's explosion on both dice. I'm sorry. So this one pays us 14. We drop the dealer $6 for 20. Hold on. It pays us 14. We drop the dealer $4. So we get $1 in change, and we tell them to press us all the way up. So the 12 goes all the way to 30 with $4 that we give them. And we mark the 8. So we mark the 8. So, we're trying to cruise along. We're trying to press and collect, and we're trying to cruise along and get enough numbers and hit our ATS. To me, $358. Right dice imploded this time. We hit an 8, but it pays 35 this time, and this is a collect run. All right, so to me, you're going to make your money. You can make good money off of ATS, and it only costs a little bit of money. So that's a little money for big gains. Or you can bet big and regress down after a couple hits and make money. Or you can hop bet. Hops or horns, if you're rolling some consistent on axis, you can use your dice sets to hop bet and horn bet. Those pay good. Those are good pays for small amounts of money. So on place betting, to me, yeah, it's good to build that place bet up, but you shouldn't use every bit of your money just to build place bets, because what happens? You stay out there. Generally, people stay out there one row too many, and it gets wiped away. So if you're not collecting as you're pressing, then you're just spinning your wheels. Anyway, that's just my outlook on it. So basically what I'm getting at is, I like hot bets to win money, I like ATS to win money, and I like horns to win money. But I'm only putting myself in those positions after so many throws. You know, I don't just come straight in shooting for hops. I got to make sure that I'm hitting enough on axis to go over to that betting method, because if you're not hitting enough on axis throws, you're just going to be throwing your money away hot betting, because those are one rows. Same way with horns. If you're not hitting enough on axis, it's no need in swapping over to that set, because you're just going to be throwing your money away on that horn. But if you're keeping up and you're tracking and you get this consistency down to where you're seeing a lot of on-axis throws, you might consider that, or I might consider it, let me say it that way, I might consider doing those type of strategies. $617. Left dice exploded. Right dice stayed on axis. 617, so, you know, what happened. All this money that's out there, I did win money off of this shooter. Even though I lost this money. Because remember when I put the 220 up, I took one roll and I regressed my 220 back to my rack. And then from that point on, I went 64 across and I press and collect. So, there's no way I lose money right here. Even though I lost that money right there to the house, I still overall on that shooter won money. So, you know, that's the thing. I mean, who's going to go on a 25, 35, 45? Who's going to go on an 18, 16, 25, you know, consistently? Who's going to be able to do that? Because a lot of times when you get to the dice table, if you have a short roll, the dice is going to not come back to you for a little while. And then all the other people that's on the table, unless you're with a planned group, but unfortunately I don't get the luxury of being with any groups, because the people that I know that do this kind of stuff for practice, I don't live close enough with them. And then the only times that those opportunities have arisen, I have not been able to meet up with anybody. So unfortunately, so far, the times that I get to play are at random rolling tables, and I'm generally like the only one doing any kind of dice influence. So when I do get the dice, I try to do my thing, but then whenever my turn passes, I have to wait for them to get all the way back around to me. So it's a whole difference than being right here at my table, but if I 7 out, I can just pick the dice up, reset the bets, and start again. It's a whole lot different. Alright, so I got my ATS money back up. I got my $10 pass line back up. We'll see if we can't get this thing going again. We was doing pretty decent. We had to come out 7, it cleared our ATS, and then that 7 out. So altogether, that roll was, you know, fairly long. It went, I don't know how long, but so far, we got a 12.0 SOR out of 36 rolls. So here we go, 3, 2, 3, 6 on the set. We're not putting any money up on ATS yet. I mean, on place bets yet. We're just getting a point established. 2-1-3. This is an on axis and double pitch. 2-1-3. This is not what we want to do, but it's not the end of the world. It cost us $10. So another option would be, if your casino allows it, play a do-we-don't. You don't never even have to worry about the do-we-don't if they allow it. That's just an option. It's nothing that I normally do. I just play mine straight out as a pass line. 5-1-6 on axis, primary hit. So if somebody asked this one day, I was on somebody's video or somebody was on my video, and I was talking, or maybe it was on LFC, but we was talking about calling these numbers out at the table, and they're like, do they allow that? And I'm like, they don't care what you say, as long as you give them the opportunity to call the point before the box man calls, the stick man calls the point. They don't care that you're sitting at the table talking to yourself. So if you're sitting at the table or you're tracking with BDC, and you are seeing a lot of consistent hits, that might be an area, if I see this, might be an area to where I start hopping instead of these place beats. Because see right here, this is what I'm going to show you. That's 220. No, that's 120. If I wanted to hop right now, look here. So instead of me putting that up there, the 120 up there, I could have 4 $30 hops. 4 different $30 hop bids. And what I do if I'm going to hop, I'm going to cover all the 6s and all the 8s on the 3V set for $5 each. It's 6 of them. It's 3 ways to hit the 6. It's 3 ways to hit the 8. I'm going to cover all 6 of them for $5 each if I hop. Now, the hard way, if it comes about, the 3-3 or the 4-4, it's going to pay you 30. It's going to pay you 150 for this nickel. All the other ways are going to pay you 75 for this nickel. So what you can do, you can re-up. You know, you take this down, so you don't have to have 50 out there on the 5 and 9. You just have to have quarters out there. And then you can even start incorporating, if you want to, after you get a couple of hits, you can start going for the outsides. But that's what I'm showing you. So instead of having the 120 on the 6 and 8, you can do it for 30 a time. And from the very initial setup, I've got 4 shots at it. But right now, I'm just going to stay with my 220. I'm just going to stay with my 220 like that. So I just hit a 6. I'm going to put my money on odds. I'm trying to do a 1 hit and regress down to 64 cross. I was just showing you what could happen if you wanted to bet hops, or if I start noticing that I have a lot of consistency in my own axis. Two, hard way 4. I have nothing on the 4. Right dice actually exploded. Hit a 2-2. So no worries. We just have to leave our 220 up for another roll. One, 2, 3. This is a drift. AC Doocy is a drift. Three, 2, 3, 6 on the set. Now we're starting to get into the little deeper waters than we're really comfortable with, because we're leaving that 220 up for the third roll in a row. And eventually you got to look. That's going to get burnt. If you keep leaving the money up, eventually it's going to get burnt. Now it didn't get burnt here. I hit my point. So I'm just saying, I don't really like going over past 2 rows on my 220. exposure. That time I was kind of forced to because I hit an outside number and then I hit an extreme number. So I went ahead and took the chance for it. This 60 pays 72. And we got the frontline winner, which makes 82. So these other 220s get to go back to our, get that back in our rack. We made our point, so we marked the 6. Oops. We marked the 6. We made our point. We made our point, so we made our 6. We got $82 right here off of the 220 exposure that we can spread across. So let's do 10, 20, 30. You still got this 50 right here to go. So let's go with, let's see what happens right here. Let's put a quarter there and that 10 there. We can put that quarter there. It wouldn't quite work out. So quarters on the 5 don't work. So let me take the change. So there's our $50. Let's see what we can get out of it. We gotta get $5 there for the 5. So we got our 6 up, we got our 8 up, we got our 4, our 10, and we still got $16 right here. We can go with another 5 on the 5 and 9, and we still got $6 more. We just racked that up. Actually, we got $8 more. Alright, so we hit our 6. Well, when you come out, so we're not working to come out. We're just shooting the 3-2-3-6. You know, this is the part that I have to probably slow myself down. This is something that I know I need to work on, is being a little bit more patient and let the excitement kind of give myself a little bit more time to, you know, internally settle down, especially live at the real table on LFC or any of this. You know, when the numbers are coming as I want them to, I get a little excited, and I think sometimes I rush myself. We're going to come out, Rose. Ice her out. We're not working. All right, we got a 1-3-4. Left dice imploded, 1-3. So we got a new point, it's a 4. We're going to put the money in odds. It don't need to be up there on a place bet. But we need a 2 and a 5. We're just going to shoot a few more of this particular style. There's no need in changing sets or changing anything up right now. You know, we're trying to build that place bet up. We had a couple of hits. We was able to regress now from 220 and go 64 across. So we're just going to go with that for a moment. 4, 5, 9. Right dice imploded. We hit a 9. We got 15 on it. So it pays 21. We're doing a press and collect type method. The last roll was a collect, but it was when we regressed to 64. So our next roll, we always do a collect. So so now we're on the press roll. So that was a 9. All right, so we get a 9. All right, there we go. 3-2-3-6 on the set. Nice one out. 3-5-8. Right dice imploded again. 3-5-8. We hit 8. So this time we got to drop the dealer $4. So we get $1 and change. We tell them to press us all the way up. So for us dropping the $4, that's going to give us a $30 8. We mark the 8 on the tracker. And we look at our ATS. We need a 2. We need a 5. We need a 10, 11, and a 12. So we need a lot of extremes. But we still need another inside hit. Since our last roll was a press, we don't want to move until we took a collect. I don't like changing it up until I took a collect. Here's the reason behind that. I took the risk of losing all this money just to press it. There's no need after I press it to change everything up. What I want to do is take the risk again on a collect method to reap the benefits. So the risk to press is not worth stopping, is all I'm saying. I want to take another risk to collect once before I change over. If I change over, that's right. 426. Right dice exploding. 426. So this time it pays us 14. So we can say $1 for 15. All right. So there's $1 for 15. We give the dealer $1 for 3. All right. So now we'll go ahead and mark this 6. All right. So let's look at it. We need a 2. We need a 5. We need a 10, 11, 12. We need an extremes. Let's go here. $15 in the field. $20 home. And then let's see if we have enough here to get a quarter. We might not have quite enough to do it. We're going to have to get some money from our rack. Maybe like 20 bucks from our rack. And now we got our setup. So we're going to move over to our 6465. And we're going to shoot to try to get those extremes. This is that similar to where it's not hops, it's just horn betting, playing an iron cross. But we're really hoping to hit some primary numbers here in forms of aces, midnights. $156. So this is a single pitch on axis, single pitch, 156. So that's 6. We just mark it. The dealer would pull our field and he would pull our horn and he would pay us 35 here. We would have to tell him to replace our field and replace our horn. Or we'd just tell him to replace our horn, we'd replace our own field. But I don't have to do all that movement. You guys know I know what's happening, you guys know what's happening. Now if you notice also, I still got $10 right here on this 4. I can leave it there, it's not hurting nothing. And if I wanted to, I could actually put money on the 9 and the 10. I mean, I don't even have to leave this money there. But I'll leave it there. It's not hurting nothing. Double pitch. Well, actually, not a double pitch. 6465, our right dice exploded. 347, our right dice exploded. So we get close to these ATSs and we can't finish them. But that's okay. We didn't lose any money off this year because you see, we take that first hit off of 220 and we get our money back to our bankroll, and then we start doing a press and collect. And we get 3 or 4 of those in before we ever have to change over dice sets. So we're making our money before we're changing sets. We're just going to go ahead and look at the money now because, let me see. I need 1 green. So I'm going to turn that in for green. That way we've got 500 in that. And we've got, there's 6 plus 5, that's 1100. The blacks and the greens make 11. This makes 1200, 12 and a quarter, 1233. 1233. So not the greatest of profits, but profit. That's the thing. 47 rows in, and we made $233 worth of profit. We had a good opportunity there. We had a real good opportunity there a couple times because we was only needing a 3 and a 12 on one of the sessions, and that time right there we were needing a couple. We needed like the 2 and the 5 that time, and we needed like the 10 and the 12 maybe. So we needed a couple more that time to get close. But we made $233. We ended with an SOR of 11.8. So hey, all in all, you know, that's got to be a pretty good sign. 11.8 is not a terrible, terrible SOR. Let's go over to the gauges. Let's look at this right here. So right here, it shows that our dominant number was the 6, followed by the 4 and the 8 coming in second. Now the 4 and the 8, the 4 is probably was an off-axis hit quite a few times, but you can see not every time. We was hitting some 4s on axis, but I did hit a hard 4. I remember once at least. But let's look at our gauges. So inside hits, 51.1%. That's a little bit lower than we needed. We needed a couple more hits on the 5s and 9s to bring that inside hit up. But outside hits, 21.3, not terrible. SOR is at 11.8, so that's that's decent. That's not complainable. 11.8. We had one come out 7, and we had only one 10 all day. We had only one 12 all day. So if we'd have been playing a lay 10 strategy today, we probably would have. We possibly could have made more profit. It depends on when that 10 came. But we probably actually would have made more profit, because when those 4 7s came, we actually didn't lose none of our bankroll when those 4 7s came. Even when that come out 7 came, we didn't lose any bankroll, because we had already made it, regressed our money back to our bracket, and then used the house money to press house money. And we used house money to press house money while we was using house money we was doing the press and collect roll method. So house money was pressing and paying us. So that's how we ended with a profit. Now, it's not the greatest of profit, but hey, 47 rows. We spent 1 hour and 6 minutes on the video. We made $233. Who could complain about making $233 in 1 hour and 6 minutes? I take it all day long. I would take it all day long. Yeah, we like to do this practice and come out with $1,500 profit, $2,500 profit, but that's not feasible. I mean, you're going to lose some too. But I'm just trying to stay in reality with the bankroll that I would actually be using. I'm not going to the casino and putting $500 or $300 across, or $300, $1,500 on the inside. I'm not doing that stuff. I'm not even certain that I'm going to a casino and doing $140 or $440. I'm not even certain I can do that in a casino. The 220 is more in my line than I'm possible, maybe. But either way, our SOR, let's go over here and write in our SOR, because the title from yesterday's is what's stuck in there again. So we have an SOR of 11.8 today with what I say, 233 profits. We come close to hitting a small and a tall, and we was not far off in a different session. So all in all day, every day, ain't no doubt, East Coast, all day, every day. You're having a blast by being able to do this anyway. And if you're making $233 in an hour, man, that's as you say, all day, every day. I could not be upset at that. Even though my closest casino is 2 hours away, and I've claimed that I won't go back to those, I'll just drive the other extra hour, which would be an hour for the round trip, because the next closest casino is 2.5 hours away. But if you go 2.5 hours one way, you got to come 2.5 hours back. So round trip is a 5-hour drive. The closest casino round trip is a 4-hour drive. So I'm saying a net of an extra hour. I'll just spend that extra hour driving and going to the other, going back to Tunica. I have lost any kind of good vibe at the Golden Moon and the Silver Star, which is the closest one. They're in Choctaw. They're actually called Philadelphia, Mississippi. But the dealers, they rubbed me the wrong way. They cheated me out of an ATS one day. Well, they cheated me out of a small. I only needed, okay, so I was playing ATS. I hit a couple numbers, and then I had to come out 7. So of course that resets. So I throw the dealer back down my 555, and I said, put me back up. Well, the dealer took my money and put me back up. Thought nothing else about it. I started back rolling. I was in a groove, man. I swear I was in a groove. Wasn't nothing bugging me. Wasn't nobody's talking, bothering me. The dealers wasn't hassling me. Wasn't nothing wrong. I was hitting number after number after number. There was a dude standing beside me. Me and him was chatting and all, and I was explaining to him a little about ATS. And you know, he had played it along with me because I'd already told him about it on a couple of shooters before me. So I was already explaining to him, and when the dice got to me, you know, he's standing to my left, and he's like, all right, I want you to see you do it. And I'm like, I'm finna hit it for you, man. So we was both up. On the come out 7, we both replaced our bets. And then I mean, my come out 7 wasn't an initial roll. I'm just saying after I rolled a few rolls, I hit my point, then I had to come out 7. Well, we both went back up. Everybody else around the table did. Whoever else was playing it went back up. And then I got in the groove. Man, I went on about 10, 12, 14 rolls, and I only needed like 11 and a 4. I know I needed the 4, but on the tall side, I only needed like the 11. So I told dude, I said, look at there, I only need the 11. You know, I really wasn't watching it that much. I was in the groove of throwing. Well, the next thing I know, boom, I hit the 11. I looked at dude beside me, I said, look, there it is, there's 11, there's 11. So they started paying everybody out. Well, they paid everybody out and then slid me the dice back, but they didn't pay me out. I said, hold up, man. I said, what about my tall? Oh, you didn't re-up, they said. You didn't re-up your ATS. I said, I know I did. So they tried arguing with me for about 5 minutes straight. And I'm like, no. I said, I slid that money back to you. I said, you better rewind these tapes. Well, when that happened, of course, you know what was going to happen now. They broke my concentration. They got me upset. I'm all mad at them. I'm telling them to rewind the tapes. They're telling me just to go ahead and keep shooting, that they're going to relook at the tapes and all this. But that's going to take a little bit. So they tell me to keep shooting. Well, now I'm upset. You know, I'm mad. I done argued with them for 5 or 6 minutes. I'm upset with them. I'm telling them how they wrong. They done got me out of my rhythm. Dude beside me said, don't even worry about it. Just keep shooting. I'm like, it ain't that. They done got me out of my rhythm. They done caused me to lose my focus. Well, of course, you know what was going to happen. I rolled the next roll. I think I hit an 8. And then when they slid the dice back to me, of course, red come. Big red. So there went that, and I only needed a 4 to complete an all. I had a 5, 5, and 5 on it. Well, you know, now I'm all pissed off. I'm like mad at them for real because, you know, I told them, I said, the main thing is y'all knocked me out of my rhythm. I said, because I had 5 on each way. I should have already got paid the 170. Plus, if y'all wouldn't have got me out of my rhythm, I was probably going to hit that 4. And then that was going to be another 170 plus the 150 times 5, so another 750. You know, so I'm like, y'all just knocked me out of about like at least $700, $800, $900 from y'all's stupidity. So they had me mad. So the pit boss, they come over and talk to me. They're like, we're gonna look at it upstairs. Well, it took them about an hour, and I stayed not even playing, just standing at the table looking at them, steadily asking them every 2 or 3 minutes, what's the word? What's the word? Well, they finally come over and slid me some money and told me, we did see it. Here's your $70 or whatever it was. I'm like, no, that's bull crap. Y'all messed me out of that whole deal. I said, you know, y'all need to just give me back all my money. And you know, of course, that ain't gonna happen. But anyway, I just lost my respect for them. And I said I wasn't gonna go back after that night, but I went back down there. It's been about a month or so back, and it was actually right there before Labor Day, the weekend of Labor Day. But I went back. And when I left out, see, after I leave my house, I can drive for about 30 minutes, and then I have to make a decision. Am I going northwest or am I going southwest? You know, so it's like I have to turn off. You know, so about right there after I'd already decided I wasn't going to go back, that night I was like, man, it was already about 8:30 or so. I'm like, I'm just going to go on and go back down there because I'm going to save myself that extra hour of drive. Well, things didn't turn out too good for me that night. I don't remember the results, but I don't think I left winning. And after that night, I said, I won't come back down here no more because that night I went down there, dealers was all rude and acting ignorant. you know, I just didn't enjoy it. So anyway, long story. Sorry about the long story. Anyway, $223 profit for an hour and 6 minutes, hour and 15 minutes in a casino. If this was real, you know, you'd be having fun. You know, you could get, you know, you're having fun in there. So anyway, that's where I'm standing today. I got a 11.8 SOR with a $233 profit, and after 47 rows, so I don't think that's too terrible. Give me a little bit of practice, and I just have to learn to slow myself down a little bit on everything. But I appreciate you hanging out with me, Ace, if you're still there. But on that note, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm going to do a video right there. So Chili from O-Town and Dice are out.